Yo, what's up, TikTok? It's Mr.BuyTheDip back here with another video. Let's talk about NVDA. Okay, what a day. Amazing day for the stock. This company just keeps growing. Okay, they keep growing, and it keeps making me think, okay, every time they drop down to these attractive numbers, I'm going to buy even more and more of this stock. Okay, so first of all, the stock is on Cash App. If you're a beginner and want to test the waters out, this is where I started everything. As y'all can see, I moved my money to Robinhood after starting out on Cash App. Currently I hold, S&P 500 on here. I'm up about 15%. But let's talk about the stock called NVIDIA. Okay, today we get a random pop out of nowhere on NVIDIA, and it happened around 12, I think. Yeah, so around 12 we see it go to 183. I made a TikTok video right away, and I only talked about buying power, how people start buying and stock goes up. Okay, supply and demand is one of the key things in investing. Demand is buying, supply is selling. Okay, that's tension between buyers and sellers. As you can see, the buyers have won that battle around 12 p.m. A lot of people bought the stock, and we go all the way up to 183. If this move didn't happen, we probably would have been at 175, 174, 176, around this range. Probably would have had a very plain day for NVIDIA. A random pop comes like this, and this is a huge gap. First of all, you never want to buy a stock like this midterm to long term on a gap like this. If you want to play a short-term level, buy option contracts or do something riskier like that, you could do that, right? But I'm in NVIDIA. Look at my position. I'm up 5%, but I'm in for the shares. I have about $570 invested in here, and I'm looking to take this to $200 from 200. Okay, that's the first stop. I have 3 stops with NVIDIA. I don't do 3 stops with a lot of stocks, but if a stock is this strong, I'm very confident it's going to go to 3 stops. 200, 205. It's going to come back down a little bit, consolidate, okay, then go to 210. But let's talk about this move, okay, because any stock could go up depending on the news. The news is very important. Trading around the news could be very risky, but if you're in before that, I want you to look when I bought the stock, okay? So I bought the stock when they went down. Closely, before I get into, the business, what they're doing and stuff, play close attention to where I'm buying. $50 at 169. Okay, $10 at 167, $10, 167, 169. So you can say I have a range of buying this stock consistently around the 160 levels. Why am I doing that? Okay, so if you look at the monthly, chart on this, look at the bottom of the bottom. I like to call this the bottom of the bottom. It's 164, right? So if you would have gotten anywhere from 164 to, I would say, 169, that would have been amazing entry. Okay, not only for the short term, but also for the target price. Okay, I'm telling you guys, I'm not long term on Robinhood. I am long term on NVIDIA, but I'm long term on Webull. I haven't talked about my long term stocks yet because I need to load those stocks up to $10,000, $5,000. That's when I'll reveal those to you guys. Until then, we're gonna make quick money like this by just playing something I call prices, right? I just like to buy when the stock is low, and I like to buy well-known companies when they're low. I like to see what they're doing. What are they investing in? How are they moving around return on invested capital? This is one of the best metrics you can look at in a company. Obviously, you can look at the operating margin. You can look at the PE ratio. Again, PE ratio for NVIDIA is 50.28. I want you guys to know PE ratio means price to earnings ratio. It basically means, let me sum it down. It means what's the real value of a company. It's 50.28. That's not a high number. Anything above 70, 80, I start to get worried. Okay, so let me give you an example of Palantir. Okay, Palantir has a PE ratio that is absolutely absurd. It's crazy. 606 PE ratio. Look at that bottom left. So a lot of people that own this stock, they could say this is just the people are pumping the stock up, and I wouldn't argue with them because the PE ratio is crazy. Okay, but again, Palantir is another thing you can swing trade and buy low, sell high. I've did this with Palantir before. Okay, but now how comfortable do I feel actually holding NVIDIA? It just comes down to their business. Now we're gonna get into the money part. Okay, so why am I so bullish on NVIDIA? Why am I saying it's gonna go to 210? First of all, PE ratio is still 50. Keep that in mind. Okay. NVIDIA's ROIC. ROIC means return on invested capital. A lot of big companies, they make a lot of money. I'm talking billions of dollars, a lot of free cash flow, good money left over after their expenses. when you run a business, okay, you get your profit after you pay your employees. You get your profit after you pay the light cost, right? The electricity bill, probably some medical bills you got to pay for one of the employees that got hurt doing whatever, right? So you, after that, okay, you get your profit. Now, what do you do with that money? Okay, let's say you made $400 million in 6 months. Okay, roughly a little bit over a quarter. So a quarter in the business is 3 months. So you made let's say $600 million. If that $600 million just stays there, that company is not growing their money. NVIDIA knows how to grow their money. So NVIDIA's ROIC is extremely high according to Guru Focus, another good platform, okay? It's analyzed ROIC for the quarter ending July 2025, okay? I talk about quarters, okay, because there are 4 quarters in a year for business, and in 4 quarters, these companies, they show their earnings and they show their growing potential, okay? 166.05% ROIC. Okay, another source is Finance Chart, shows an ROIC of 127.75%. These are amazing numbers. You can't go wrong with something above 60%. I mean, 166% back on their return on invested capital. You guys have to realize, think about this as your investment. You make money, you put it into a stock, and you're getting back 166%. This is basically what NVIDIA is doing. They're investing their money, and they're getting back $166, you guys. Think about it like that. I mean, not $166, but they're getting back 166%. That's what that means. Okay, so as of mid-September 2025, okay, it's well above the 3-year average. So the average of 3 years, if we go all the way back to about 2022, 2021, one of the craziest years for the market, right? So we let a lot of correction happen. Around 2022, the average was 84.29. Okay, they have almost doubled the way they manage their money. The management team is phenomenal, and that is what's so exciting about the stock. Okay, now when we talk about additional news is what caused this run up today. That's just me, giving you insight on why the stock is always being talked about, because they know what to do with their money. They have a nice business moat. They have a nice way for people to keep coming back and want their products because they have an edge over the competitors. Okay, it's like if a restaurant is giving you, reward points and rewards point every time you come in and eat, right? You're going to end up getting some free meals and stuff like that. So other competitors got to adapt. So some companies are still trying to adapt and learn what NVIDIA is trying to do. And their software is very good. Their hardware is very good. Their GPU, their CPU, they kind of have a nice space in the tech space. Okay, that is why I would hold the stock for longer than 182. I told you, I'm very disciplined. The only reason I'm looking for more profit or looking for more percentage is if the stock is absolutely phenomenal. And this is a phenomenal stock. What caused this run up today? So they announced $100 billion investment. Again, $100 billion investment in OpenAI. And this past summer, a few months ago, they were in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and they had stuff going on in the Middle East as well. If you can conquer the Middle East to invest in you, okay, this is so huge. Okay, Middle East is where, hub of oil. A lot of the reason why America is usually down there is for oil deals and other stuff like this. Okay, I believe this may be a crazy statement. Oil and AI. Okay, oil or the tech space. These two could make you so much money if you know how to play these right. And honestly, I feel like AI and data centers and CPUs, the way NVIDIA is growing, even at a PE ratio of just 50, right? Market cap is already $4.5 trillion. Yeah, I understand that. But PE ratio is still, the stock is saying, I'm not worth $182 is basically what it's saying. After the split, if you guys haven't been in NVIDIA before 2024, I bought the stock at $499 and they ran up to $1,000. They split their price to be $120. Okay, so after that, the stock is saying, I'm not worth $182. My PE ratio is only 50. You look at Palantir's PE ratio is 600. That's not a fair value for them. But me, I'm undervalued. I'm technically undervalued or fairly valued. And I think NVIDIA is still not what it's supposed to be. This is a $220, $230. This is going to $210, first of all. And if I can get to 200, then 205, 210, take out some profit, re-enter then around 170 or 180 lows, that's another swing I'll take from 180 to 220. Okay, levels, you guys. You got to be patient. I've sat through a loss with AMD for about four months, guys. It was a dead. You can go scroll all the way back to my Cash App videos. I sat through AMD down almost 30%. Why did I do that? Because I knew if AMD can respond back, okay, and they can just show that, oh, we are willing to compete with NVIDIA. Just that news right there could push the stock up. And I made 23% back on my money by just holding the stock through a loss. So if you're in a loss with NVIDIA right now, you bought at 180, you bought at the wrong time. First of all, I need you to realize you have invested in the right company. It doesn't matter if it's $10, $20. Enjoy the ride to 200. Give it another 2 months. A lot of people panic the second week they've invested in a stock. You haven't even given it enough time. Okay, so NVIDIA announced a $100 billion investment, and then they own 4% of Intel. This happened last week. They find a way to put their name out there on the news after every few weeks, okay? Or you see somebody like Jim Cramer on CNBC talking about NVIDIA every now and then, Dan Niles, when he's talking about Google. So some of these guys, they're well known, and for example, Google's a wonderful stock as well, okay? That's something I'll get into later as well, but $5 billion stake plus partnership in Intel. $5 billion mean they own 4% of Intel. Intel is another, stock that was... I was talking about around $19. I didn't really look too much into it, but Intel, another amazing stock. I mean, we could invest in Intel or Google when I see a pullback. But for right now, let's play NVIDIA to $200. Amazing stock. I'm so bullish on this. You guys just have to know you got to trust the process. And if you can look at, first of all, if you can look at a chart, monthly chart, and see the bottom of the bottom, I like to call this bottom of the bottom, okay? 164. So next time around you see 166, 167, I'll tell you this, don't even think twice. Once anything from 165 and 169 is a buy. I mean, I've did it over and over right here, okay? The only reason I entered at 170 because I'm taking it from 170 to 200. I'm not taking this a short-term swing. This is a kind of a midterm, 3 months to 4 months, and I think NVIDIA can push that 200 level by December. We're gonna get a nice winter rally, you guys. It happens almost every year. I know this game, and I've researched too much on this. So even if you don't get a rally because the market's already ran up for 4 months, cool. I'm going to take this to 2026 and I'm going to double down and put more money into this. And I'm going to grow the shares to 5, then to 10. You only need 2 stocks, 2 good stocks. From right now, it's Uber and NVIDIA. Play those levels right, wait for a pullback, repeat the same process over and over again. And while you do that, let me show you guys some of my profits this month. While you do that, please dabble into options. Crypto is cool. I mean, let your money cook in crypto, whatever, hold XRP for a little bit, whatever, right? But I'm a big fan of options, stocks. A lot of people say diversify. You could diversify, sure, right? But I think diversifying is also how you make money. Long-term, mid-term options. As y'all can see, NVIDIA's little sister, I would say, right? Not as big as NVIDIA. I don't think it's going to be as big as NVIDIA. It has growth potential, right? Market cap is around 200, 300 billion, whatever. It can grow a little bit, but do I see it surpassing NVIDIA? No. NVIDIA has way too much cash, okay? Cash on the table, then we can talk. And NVIDIA beats it by far, but growing opportunity in AMD is there. Until I see an AMD neck to neck with NVIDIA or potential of surpassing NVIDIA, I'm going to use AMD as a quick profit stock. As y'all can see, 10% up, Lyft 19% up. Again, I'm holding Uber, playing little options on Lyft, man, and RGTI something as well. Like, keep these things on your radar. Obviously, I don't invest in all of these, but just watch some of these levels. For example, 27.80 to 29, right? Small things like this, just this understanding how the market moves, but not being greedy. First of all, you cannot be greedy. Do not be greedy in the market, okay? If something's a long-term to mid-term, let it go there, okay? Let Uber do its thing. I'm up 7%. Only reason I'm not taking profit because this is a mid-term, long-term play. I have a price target set. I'm in or I'm out at that price target. Cool. All right. Thank you guys for watching so much. This video just explains discipline, explains NVIDIA's business model, explains their outlook, that where I think they're going. Amazing company. Uber something could match it up as well. I called Uber out 3 weeks ago, and since then, we saw a low. Right. We saw a low of 86 in August. The lowest we saw in September was $90. I want y'all to see when I bought this. Again, I'm gonna do the same thing over and over again. Okay, $10 at 90, $20 at 91, $20 at 91, $300 at 92.67. Okay, so keep these levels in your mind. The levels don't change. The amount of money I put in changes. So the levels stay the same. I just go in with probably more or less money. Then when the stock goes back up, I'll be up 7% or I'll be up 9%. For example, today when we went up to 101, I was up about 9%. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Mr. BuyTheDip is out.